Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy. So this week I want to talk to you a little bit about numbers. I want to talk to you a little bit about math. And the reason I'm thinking about math is I saw a presentation the other day by this demographer. And he's written a couple of books, and his whole pitch is, listen, it's all about simple math. If you understand simple math, where people have been, where they're going, you can understand everything. And I think, to a certain extent that's true. Although I have to be honest, I'm always a little skeptical about the idea of simple math. Partially because I don't really get math, never really have. I'm with Jimmy Buffett, who once sang math sucks. Although, to be honest, I'm not sure it's so much that math sucks as I suck at it. But the thing is, so his argument was, and one of the companies he used to frame his argument was a company called Levi Strauss. We all know Levi Strauss, right? Sells jeans. And he talked a lot about how Levi Strauss, their business was going gangbusters until a certain point, the demographic to which they were primarily selling jeans dropped off a cliff. Suddenly, there weren't nearly as many of those people. Sales went down. They couldn't figure out why. And he said, basically, if they could do simple math, they would have been able to figure this out, which is true. But it's also, I think, a little broader than that. It's just not the demographics of the people. There are other math equations, if you will, involved. There's addition, okay? The addition of, for example, lots of competition. I happen to work my way through high school and college in men's clothing stores, two of them to be specific. And I know you can tell that by how I dress normally. But I worked my way through men's clothing stores, and we sold a lot of jeans. And one of the things that happened was that, at one point there were, it was Levi's and Lee. And then suddenly everybody and their brother was making jeans. There was a ton of competition. That helped to impact the fact that Levi Strauss was having trouble with its sales. There was also subtraction, because for a long time, Gap only sold Levi's, and then that changed, and Gap decided to get into the private label business, and Levi lost a big chunk of its sales force when those stores went away. And by the way, we had a story earlier this week about how Gap is trying to reinvent themselves for like the third time. It's the circle of life. You have to do that if you're going to be a successful marketer. And then there's multiplication, and by multiplication I mean, suddenly the world of jeans changed. People didn't wear them when they were knocking around. People were wearing them all the time. They were wearing to work, depending on where they worked and what day of the week it happened to be. In my case, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But listen, so there was a multiplication of events. They became more of a fashion item. And I'm not sure Levi ever really, compensated and changed his business to approach to that. I mean, they never really did that as much as they should have, and that created problems. And they did, listen, they did other things. They went to Dockers and stuff like that. But they never really captured, I think, the fashion business that a lot of other jean companies did. They had a good origin story. Sometimes in places like, say, Brooklyn, that probably worked. But in other places it didn't, and they weren't able to take advantage of it. So, it was a bigger story. It wasn't just about demographics. There were a lot of other things going on as well. And, it seems to me that when you only look at one set of facts, okay, one set of equations, you're going to see what you want to see, but you're not necessarily going to see the big picture. A phrase I happen to love. You may be surprised by that. I think that you have to look at things in context. If you look at things just, again, in an isolated sort of way, you're never going to see the whole story. And it's really important in all of our businesses to see the whole story as much as possible. So, listen, maybe I'm not as bad at math as I thought. In this case, I think I can do addition, subtraction, and multiplication. Just don't give me fractions or calculus. My dad was a math teacher for a long, long time, and he used to say with a rueful shake of the head that there was only one person on the planet he was never able to teach math to. And you're looking at him. I'm not sure I'm particularly proud of that, but that happens to be the way things are. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this Thursday morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.